So many people are feeling challenged right now. And so today we are discussing what to do when you feel you are suffering. Let's get started.
Welcome to the I'm Perfectly Divine podcast, place for the strong, sensitive spiritual seeker to recognize the perfection of your human spiritual worlds through proven and grounded frameworks that support you to live in the wholeness you already are. For over the past 2 decades, I have supported people from all around the world, as well as Fortune 500 companies, to dissolve the divisions within them and live with greater empowerment and love. This podcast is an exploration of the paradoxes that befuddle us as we live our lives being both human and divine. Together, you and I, along with other experts, will navigate integrating psychology and spirituality, the divine feminine and the divine masculine, the darkness and the light, to create greater sacred union from within. I believe through your remembering that you are innately divine, you will allow yourself to more openly shine. So let's get to it, because your unique light is needed more than ever.
Hello, my strong, sensitive spiritual souls. I am so excited to be with you today because there is a lot going on for people. I am witnessing so many people going through challenging times. So again, if this is you, please know that you're not alone. And today we are going to talk about what to do when you are suffering inside, because the worst feeling is feeling that you are alone in this and that you feel that there's no way out. The truth is that you are never alone, and yet it can feel that way. But on a spiritual level, we are not. And this is holding the both and, the path that you are being guided to, no one can do it for you. And this is what can feel so challenging. And this is exactly why I want you to hear that if you are suffering, whenever you are suffering, it is because you are a chosen one. It is because you have the courage in that moment to start to dismantle that which is no longer serving you, and it is coming forward in order for you to release that which no longer serves you, so you can really step into more of the love and power and really being in alignment with the person that you're meant to be. And the issue and the challenge is that when we this place of challenge and it feels like suffering, we feel so disconnected from our truth. We feel so disconnected spiritually. We feel disconnected from everybody around us. And it's really important that we honor this time and this experience that you are going through, because it is actually sacred. And we are not taught this. We are taught that whenever we feel these powerful negative feelings, whenever we feel stuck, whenever we are in suffering, it's our egos go bananas trying to figure out how to get us out of it. And that's normal. That is natural. That is our human tendency. And what we are missing when we go to how do I get out of this pain as quickly as possible is, again, you are going through a sacred shedding of ego layers. And if we think about it, and that saying that it's the dying wolf that cries the loudest, this is what you're experiencing. It's the dying wolf of your ego that is getting louder and louder. It really amping up that sense of suffering, exactly because you are on a journey to confront it so that it releases. And I speak about this a lot, that so much of what has been focused on in spiritual communities has been about going to the light and being more expansive into the light. And that is beautiful. And that is part of our growth process. However, we we have the yin and yang, the light and the darkness for a reason. And the darkness is not just about our pain that our ego associates it with. The darkness is where we learn to relinquish that which no longer serves us. It's in the darkness that we give birth to something new. And so it's really honoring this dark period if this is something that you're going through. And so the struggle is real. I don't want to dismiss this. I understand this struggle very personally. I've gone through it and have suffered. I understand that. And I also understand how courageous you are, that this is not by accident that you are going through this. There is major change ahead for you. And if you are struggling right now, it's because you are needed. So I really want you to hear that. If you are struggling right now, or whenever you go through a period of struggle and you're listening to this, know that it's your time. It's your time where you are needed. And I know it does not feel that way. It may feel the exact opposite, but there are major changes on the horizon. And that's what's being called of you, is to work out what is ready to relinquish, exactly so that when you expand into the light that you're meant to receive more of, you are more of a vessel capable of receiving that light, rather than have these pieces, these aspects of self that are attached to our ego, to our false self, that limits our ability to express the love that we are, feel the love that we are, know the power that we are, be in the state of power that we are, all these aspects that allow us to hold more light. So this is a place where we want to honor yourself. And I want to provide you with some guidance that may support you, because I know when I was going through this journey, I felt like there was something wrong with me. I thought there was something just messed up, that like, what could I be missing? What am I doing wrong? Why do I deserve this? None of that is true. This is a normal process for those who are on a growth journey. And it is our human and divine journey to go on growth journeys, to know ourselves, to reveal more and more of ourselves. And so if you're struggling right now, you may not feel the love of the universe, but I promise you it is still there. When I went through it, I felt completely cut off from universal love. And that was so difficult for me, because I've always felt this deep devotion and connection to the divine. And so it can feel so hurtful, but I promise you, you haven't. And thankfully, we have so many different offerings of spiritual texts to remind us that just when we think we're alone, we're not. We're always connected. So I'm going to read a few of those just to remind us of your connection to the divine. So the first one is Christian quote from Joshua, chapter 1, verse 9, that says, "Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. For the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go." There's also the indigenous teachings, Lakota wisdom. And I believe most of all indigenous teachings, although I don't know all indigenous teachings, but there is this belief that we are all related, reminding us that we are all interconnected and never truly alone. Because if we're interconnected, we cannot be alone. And all beings are a part of the great spirit circle of life. And so this indigenous wisdom reminds us of our interconnection. And so when you go through this depth, again, it's because you are needed on the other side. You are going to be using this strength that you are acquiring. Even though I know it doesn't feel like you're strong, you are. You're going to be using it to support yourself through other challenges, as well as support others. In Taoism, there is the belief that the Tao is infinite and eternal. Why is it eternal? It was never born, thus it can never die. It flows through all things inside and out and returns to the origin of all things. So it's always flowing within all of life, all things. And then in ancient Egypt, an ancient Egyptian hymn to Isis says, I am with you in your moments of suffering, and I bring healing to your pain. No one who calls upon me will ever walk alone. So just take this in, that this feeling of disconnection is part of the illusion we are working through in this journey of remembrance. That's why these spiritual teachings throughout millennia are here, reminding us that when we think we are most alone, there is a powerful presence with us. That's why I wanted to read to you all these different spiritual scripts, because for millennia, we have been on this human journey where we forget the truth of who we are, where we forget that we are connected to the divine, that we are a part of the divine. And there are these scriptures, these ancient texts guiding us back to our remembrance. Now, many of you may know that I end each episode that there's nothing to prove or fix, just to remember. And I do that because this is the whole point, is that we remember that there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. It's just remembering who you are is part of the human journey. That is why we're here. We're remembering who we are. And that's how we reclaim our divinity, our truth, our power. And that is what is needed more than ever. So it makes sense why so many people are struggling right now, especially as we are ending a year and starting a new year that's going to be full of change. We're in this time of change, and we need our inner strength, our emotional wisdom, our internal guidance to support us to stay strong during times of change. And so this is the preparation we are all going through. And that's why I'm here to remind you, you are so powerful. You are courageous, or you would not be here. And you have no idea that your willingness to go through this experience right now of suffering, where it's not just going to lead you, but how it's going to support others. So I really want to say that I am truly sorry for the challenges you are facing on a human level. And I have been witnessing people with horrendous human challenges. I know this challenge you are going through at times feels unbearable. And that is part of the human experience that we just can't get around sometimes. And I'm sorry to bear that news, but I think you know that, right? And I want to remind you that you will make it through. You will make it through, because this is temporary, and I know it's temporary. I've gone through this periods of long darkness, and through that sense of feeling abandoned, feeling broken, again, which isn't true. That's why I can come to you and say, this is not true. It's a darkness I know I would not wish upon my worst enemy. But what I also know is that what is on the other side of the darkness, I want for everyone to experience. And so this is the conundrum, right? Because what's on the other side of this is so freaking beautiful, is so amazing when you are expanded, because these layers of the ego, the layers of fear, you get unhooked from you, they dissolve. They truly dissolve. And then that expansiveness again opens you to greater love, greater life, greater power, greater light. And that's what awaits you. So if you're in this darkness, this is your time for preparation for more light. And that if you can hold on to that in this period of darkness, it's your preparation for more light. And that there's a sliver of light that you can find every day. And again, when I was going through it, I was like really struggling. And yet if you can find that freaking sliver, you're going to make it through. And so today I want to guide you on how to support you, hopefully to gain more than a sliver, but really build upon this and honor your process. Because this time of year in the Northern Hemisphere, where we're leading into this time of great darkness, is preparing for more light. That's the whole point. But how do you do that when you're barely making it through the day? Well, that's what I want to guide you to today. Is I know what it's like to barely make it through the day, but there's some ways that supported me that I hope will support you as well. So I want to begin with the easiest to focus on, and then we'll build from there. What I invite you to do is focus on one healthy habit that you can commit to, especially while you're going through this dark time. And you do it no matter what. So this one healthy thing, it may be that you turn to meditation, prayer, exercise, you stop drinking, whatever it is, you are committing to it for you because you need this piece of health to stabilize you as you go through these times where it feels so uncertain. It's like you're going through so many ups and downs and places you've never been. And so this gives you a sense of stability. And your essence needs to know that you are there for you, even when, I want you to hear this, even when 99% of you does not want to show up for you. You're not feeling it. But that's not going to matter because you've made a commitment to yourself. So what do? Well, let's say you know that the healthy practice is you meditate for 20 minutes a day, or you exercise for 30 minutes a day, or you do a set of prayers and you just do not feel like it. Well, you're still going to do it, but you're going to do it just a little bit less. If you meditate for 20 minutes, you meditate for 5 on the day that you're not feeling it. If you're not feeling it and you usually exercise for 30 minutes, you exercise for 10 minutes. If you usually say 5 prayers, you say 1 prayer. But you're still showing up for you. You being able to do something slightly that is healthy, even the slightest bit of health, supports your inner knowingness that reaffirms you are there for yourself in these dark times. And that's part of what we are working through. So for so many of us, and I'll share for myself, there's this belief or this tendency that somehow something's going to rescue me. Something's going to get me out of this. Something magical is going to happen and I'm just going to come out of this. There's something out there, some drug, some practice that'll just take this all away. And while we can be supported in external ways, the bottom line is we've got to find our way out of our egos, how the ego clams onto us, and be able finger by finger to loosen its grip on us, because that's how we empower ourselves. And so I get it. You don't feel empowered. You feel like you barely have the energy to get out of bed. And you know in your mind and in your heart that you need to do something to make yourself feel better. And so you're going to have one healthy habit, something that your heart says, yeah, that'll feel good to me. It could be a walk. And again, if it's a walk, okay, that's what I'm committing to. And so if I usually go for a 30-minute walk and the weather is crappy outside, I'm just going to go around the block. I'm going to do a 5-minute walk. I'm still going to walk. And so this shows The point is that you show up for yourself no matter what, because you are remembering that no one else can give this to you but you. And so again, this is part of the difficult piece, is that we've got to, it's the both and. We are interconnected. We are here for one another. And there's certain things that we've got to do alone. We come into this world alone. We will die alone. And our emotional growth and healing and inner journey, we can have support. This is what I do for a living. I support people as they go through this. And at the same time, those actions that must be taken by an individual must be taken by that individual. I can't do that for them. And so this is where you build that muscle to show up for yourself, even when you don't feel like it. So that's number one. Number two, what you can do to help you move through suffering is look for small slivers, gestures of light. Small. It can be a call with a friend, a walk outside in the woods, painting, doing some sort of crafty thing you like, something that soothes your soul. And you may find that when you do this, you may turn to something because you're like, oh, it gives me so much joy. It may not give you joy. And that's okay, because you're in this place of darkness, but it's still soothing on some level. It's soothing that you're just giving yourself something that you know offers a sliver of light. So whatever that is, offer yourself that. It could be a bath, whatever, something that feels good to you. Number three, keep doing human tasks. Do less. Give yourself more time for them. Ask others for support with the other aspects that are just too overwhelming for you, but do some of the human tasks that you can do. In other words, keep putting one foot in front of the other. Keep it small. Give yourself a lot more time to do things. But there's something about the human steps that we take one step at a time, and then the other step, and then the other, that, again, we're building resilience. We're remembering that we can. It may feel like we are trudging through quicksand. It's okay. Just take that one foot in front of the other and then honor yourself deeply for that everyday human task that you just completed. I'm talking, I washed the dishes today, or I folded a load of laundry, or I made my bed. Okay. Like that, honor yourself for that, because that's how hard what you are going through is. And again, it's this sense of, and I continue to show up. I continue to show up in the smallest way that I can, and I honor myself for it, because it is really hard. And now this fourth one is a more advanced technique. So I want to put that out there. And it's definitely for the days that you feel a bit more stronger, that you have a bit more energy. And I share this with you because it's such an important piece. I will also share with you, it may be important for you to have a therapist as guidance, or go through some sort of group experience with someone that you trust that can guide you through what I'm asking you to go through. This is a piece that I guide others through. And I know that in doing this, it's very difficult, but it can be incredibly powerful to shorten and start to alleviate some of the suffering that you're in. And that is that you are going to be guided toward or into the stuckness that you feel. Now, our human tendency is like, how do I get away from this? I don't want any of this. And this is what our ego does. It starts to spin, and it's trying to fix you, and it's trying to fix your life. And this is the reason why this is so helpful. 3 reasons. When you go into the stuckness, A, you aren't denying that you are stuck. you're like, I'm stuck. And you're going to be with it. And what you'll see is that B, when you're with it, you will see the way that your ego is freaking out because you were stuck, and all the old patterns it's trying to stir up to get you out of this feeling of being stuck. And you're going to know it's the ego because it's A, freaking out, panicking, but B, it's also going into these old patterns that you know in your heart are not working for you. And you go there out of desperation. And so my invitation for you is then C is you have a choice to get out of that desperate state by allowing yourself to be okay in the muck, to just sit there in the muck. And again, this is why I say you want to have a good therapist or you want to be led through a group where it can support you in this. But you're going to sit in the muck without trying to clear it, without trying to do all the things that your ego wants to do. You're just going to be in the muck. Now, what do we know about this? We know that when we're really stuck in the muck, that the more you panic, the more you try to get out of it. You panic more. You go into more of a fear state. Your ego freaks out. You feel more disempowered, and you start to sink more into the muck. And so, what if you just allow yourself to be in it, and to just be like, this is where I'm at, and maybe the most powerful thing I can give to myself right now is to allow myself that and to stop fighting it, to just be with whatever this muck actually is. Rather than being afraid of the boogeyman, we're going to face it. I'm going to be in the muck. And what is it telling me? And how can I sit with that? Now, if this feels very overwhelming to you, again, you can have support. This is what I do to support people. And I am offering a free experience in January to support people through exactly, learning how to dip your toe into being able to do this. So I want to give you that experience. And I do this in an event called the Chakra Reboot. Chakra Reboot, what does this have to do about being in the muck? What I'm guiding you to do is to go into your body, to get real about where your energy is stuck and what emotions are there and what beliefs are there. And from that inner journey that I take you on, it's going to give you guidance as to where you need to be with yourself in order to empower yourself again. So I'm going to connect the link to Chakra Reboot so that you can sign up for it. It's coming up in a month. And even though that may feel far away, trust me, it's better to plan for these things and to continue to give yourself the skills to help you through any experiences where you feel stuck, where your emotions feel overwhelmed. Okay. But this is what we want to do, whether you do it in a group experience or not. This is part of our inner strength process that helps us build our inner knowingness to remembering our truth again. And then lastly, number 5, be crazy, crazy compassionate for yourself at this time. Your ego, if it's like my ego, your ego is going to do what I did, which is compare your suffering to someone else's. And you're going to compare it to the person who is the most worst off person that you can think of and tell yourself that you have no reason to suffer. And guess what? That causes more suffering. And that is exactly what our ego does to limit ourselves from feeling loved and supported and connected. And so suffering is suffering, right? And your suffering that you are going through, it deserves to be honored just as anyone else's suffering. We don't have to go on this ego place of comparing one suffering to another, one's trauma to another. one's pain to another. Yours is your pain, your suffering, your trauma is enough. It's enough to be cared for. It's enough to give yourself crazy compassion that you do not hold back. You deserve to be held in love and compassion. I promise that you are more courageous and needed than you realize. You are more needed than you truly, truly realize. And the universe is in these dark moments with you, supporting you to let go of what does not serve you. The old ways you have tried to outwit your pain are no longer working, and your real power and truth are awakening to reveal more of who you are. And the more we can be with that, the more we can give ourselves crazy compassion, the more you're going to find your way in and through the suffering to greater expansiveness and love. So my love to you is to remember this is temporary. I promise you, I've gone through this and I have worked with people all over the world, and it's always, always, always been temporary. Always, without exception, as long as you keep showing up for you in the slightest ways. So I gave you 5 ways to start to work with this. And some are bigger than others. Remember, one healthy habit, small gestures of light is number 2. Keep doing the human tasks, but do less of them. And that includes asking for support. Number 4 is going more into the deep dive where we're going to go into the stuckness. And number 5, be crazy compassionate for you. So please know that I love you. I honor you. Truly. I truly see how courageous you are. And there is nothing to prove or fix, just to remember. I'm so grateful for you. Much love until next time.
I am so honored you have joined me today. If you enjoyed the I'm Perfectly Divine podcast, subscribe so you don't miss any of our power-filled episodes. Also, if you know another who is strong, sensitive, and spiritual and wants to dive deeper into emotions and ancient wisdom so they too can create profound peace and fulfillment from within, please share this podcast. Thank you again for joining me, and I look forward to reconnecting with you soon.